The angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our words of stone are ashes and we both passed on. Let forever mean forever and carry on.
Good afternoon. Wow. So, I kind of had a couple of different topics on mind to think about today, to talk about today, and wound up being a topic that I just got just literally moments before the show. So that's usually the best, to be honest. It's usually the best. Man, I tell you. Been following a lot of different things today. Of course, I'm sure you've heard there's been a school shooting today near Los Angeles. And, man, it's a shame. It is truly a shame that all of this is going on. And the topic today is going to be related to that. So let me go ahead and kind of run through the normal stuff. I did, thankfully, I got Steve's snail mail today, and I'm glad it made it. I guess our mail lady is on vacation, and so anytime she's not delivering mail, I get really nervous, because I've seen a lot of screw-ups when she's not delivering. And it's kind of frustrating. But so I did get his mail today. That's a good thing. Like I said, like I've been saying, you know, if you do send us something snail mail, let us know. You know, just let us know we got something coming. That way I can keep an eye out for it. Because every time that I've gotten an issue fixed with the mail system with USPS, it's because I've gotten on it right away. Immediately gotten on it. And believe me, and it's advice to you as well, if you order something and you're expecting a package or something, keep an eye on that tracking. And if there's something amiss in that tracking, make sure you get on the horn and shake some trees. Because the quicker you do that, the more likely that they're going to be able to straighten it out. For instance, if something happens with a label or something like that, and, you know, they may be sitting with a package that they have no idea where it goes. And the only way that they will know is if the intended recipient of that package calls them up and says, hey, look, you know, I haven't gotten my package. It shows that it went to here, but it hasn't gone anywhere else. Well, believe me, they can track that down. And so a lot of times you can, you know, rectify the situation, but you have to get on it quick. You know, I've done a lot of mailing and a lot of receiving, and so that's something that I've gotten used to. But anyway, so let me go ahead and run through the regular stuff real quick, and then we'll go from there. And get the right screen over here. Amazon affiliate, we're up to $23.86. So that is awesome. It's like halfway through the month. So that is incredible. I appreciate it deeply. So thank you to all of you that participate in the Amazon affiliate program. For those that don't know, we have a link in the description as well as thewatchmannews.com in the top right there. I noticed we don't have the ads yet, so we've been approved for that. But anyway, we got an Amazon affiliate link there. What that is, if you click that link, it takes you to Amazon, and if you make a purchase, it doesn't cost you anything more, and it throws a little bit our way. So we got an Amazon store too, which I probably ought to start adding some more things to. I really need to start hitting that Amazon store, but it's the same thing. If you go to our Amazon store, which has links in both places, same thing. If you purchase an item from there, it doesn't cost you anything more, throws a little bit our way. We've got a Teespring store, and the best way to see our different designs there is just go to thewatchmannews.com, scroll down on the home page, and right there you'll see our different designs. I will be adding more, and just as a note to think about, They're going to be having like a Black Friday sale, and I'm going to be participating in that Black Friday sale. So if you're interested in merch, I think I'm going to go with the 30% off, which is the highest one that they offer. And so at that time, it'll be 30% off for any of those items. So I'm going to try to maybe have another design or two up before then. We'll see how that goes. But as it stands, that's what I have up there. And I believe the sale is going to run, I think, from the 29th to the 2nd. So November 29th to December 2nd, I think, is when that sale runs. And I know the code already. The code would be Cyber30 because they gave me that. So I got to get that set up. And like I say, if you're interested, that would be a great time to get a little bit of merch. I'll try to get a couple different designs, a couple added designs there by then. But anyway, that's that. Let's see. The other way anybody can help out if they so choose is our PayPal donate link. That's also in the description of the videos, as well as a button right there in the main menu at thewatchmannews.com. That just takes you to our PayPal donation page. You don't have to have a PayPal account or anything. You can just do it as a guest with like a debit or a credit card. But I always let people know it does say Transforming Disabilities up top. That is us. It also says the Watchman News donation right there. That way you know you're in the right place. And pretty much all of our items goes towards prepping. One way or another, it goes towards prepping. And so if you ever wonder what we're up to, what it is that donations go towards, what it is the Amazon affiliate money goes towards, we have an Amazon priority list right there. And so that way you kind of have an idea. And yes, different things pops up. The very next thing I'm working on is this grow light for the grow tent that we have. So that's the next thing I'm working on. There will be enough at the end of the month to be able to get it. So that's kind of what I'm waiting on. But that gives you an idea. And it's also yet another way if you want to help support us. It's like a gift registry kind of thing. So if you see something you want to help us out with, you can just simply add it to the cart. When you get to the cart, under addresses, you'll see other addresses, and you'll see my name, which is Michael Callahan. You'll see Michael Callahan's gift registry address. And if you choose that option, it will send it to us without giving out our physical address. So kind of one of those things. And that can be done anonymously as well. So if that's the way you so choose. So anyway, now that I'm through all that good stuff, let me get those closed out. So as I was saying, sip of coffee. I really wasn't saying that, but that's what I'm going to do. As I was saying, there was another school shooting today. And I'm kind of a hammer mechanic, right? I'm one of those that I have no problem with the idea behind arming teachers. I have no problem with that. That's just my nature. I'm going to say my best advice, whether it's good or not, for dealing with this epidemic with school shootings is to stop with the anti-bullying campaigns. And I know that might sound a little crazy, right? That might sound a little backwards. No, it's not, because the anti-bullying campaigns are a failure, a complete failure. And so this is what happens with a child in school. They get bullied, and the bully picks on them, and the bully picks on them, and the bully picks on them. Well, what happens if the child being bullied decides to strike out and kick the hell out of the bully? Guess who gets in trouble? And this is almost 100% of the time. The child that's been getting bullied nonstop is the one that gets in trouble. He gets in trouble at school. He gets in trouble at home for being involved in a fight. It's never ending, right? So what happens nowadays versus, because if you recall, 30 years ago, you didn't have a rash of school shootings. Why? Because 30 years ago, when you had one student bullying another student, once that student being bullying got tired of it and knocked the hell out of the bully, they usually became best friends and it was over. But now we don't have that. Why don't we have that? Because it's another freedom. It's another right, the right to self-preservation that our schools and our government took away from us. The right, the ability to defend ourselves. Once again, we had that taken away. So what happens? These children that are being bullied, they just let it build. And they let it build, and they let it build. And at this point, they decide, you know what? If I'm going to get in trouble, fuck it. I'm going to do it. And they walk in school with a gun. And they take human lives. I'm telling you. I know. I know. How do I know? Because I was bullied day in and day out. And eventually I got tired of it. And I knocked the shit out of the bully. And that was the end of it. Had I not had that opportunity to do that, I have no idea what I would have done. Because I'll tell you what, it's in my human nature not to lose. Not to lose. So I can't tell you what my reaction would be today. Would I have to go through school and have to put up with that day in and day out, that bullying, and not be able to defend myself? I couldn't tell you. I'm just being real with you. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. Because it's a totally different atmosphere in school today than it was then. Now it's a prison. In fact, I was saying that when I was on my way out of school because I seen that transition happening. I seen the cameras be installed. I seen the change in how they, we'll say, conducted business with the students. That was coming in as I was going out. That's my solution. Get the government out of the schools, which is my solution for a lot of the problems in the schools. Let these kids deal with one another. You know, there's an old saying, and I'm going to screw it up, but boys roll around in the dirt and bloody each other's noses. Men kill one another. And what they are doing is they're taking that child, that boy, away from these children and forcing them to be men when they're not mentally capable of doing so. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. But it's a place that I've been. It's a place that I'm familiar with. And I'll tell you what, unless you're bullied, especially on an insane level, you just won't understand. You just won't. Now, I don't know if that was the motivation whatsoever with what happened today. I have no idea. Not a clue. However, shortly before the show, and when I say shortly before the show, I mean like literally a few minutes before I started the show, I clicked a video because I wanted to hear what the guy had to say. And I wasn't able to completely finish the video before I had to click go live on my end to start my show. So I haven't even seen all of this video that I'm about to play. But what I did see of it gave me one hell of a challenge. And I'm going to take up that challenge. I'm going to take up that challenge. And you know what? I encourage you to take it up as well. So, what is the challenge? Well, I'm going to play the video and let you find out. I know I don't normally play other people's content during the monologue, but this will be an exception. And I really don't think the gentleman would mind, especially in the light of what I'm doing it. Of course, it's not to be in any way derogatory towards him or anything else. This guy has brought out more things than me, than probably any YouTuber out there. He has helped me see more things that I was in disagreement with more than anybody out there. And I have a high level of respect for that. A high level of respect for that, because you know what? I'm not, pardon me, I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. And if I'm in the wrong frame of thought, I want to know. I want to know. I want to be corrected. Because it's not about my way. It's about the right way. To me, that's important. And I know that's not how much of society works. But I'm not much of society. In fact, I'm so far away from the majority in society, it's unbelievable. But I'm sure I'm speaking to the choir on that. You all know that by now. So anyway, let me go ahead and play this video, and we'll go from there. This is Bo of the Fifth Column. You know him from his videos that we play on the show during the other portion of the show, and he often has a different take on things. And once again, he much definitely has a different take on things. So we'll watch his video, and I certainly don't have an answer yet. I have no idea of an answer yet, but I will be working on it. That you can be rest assured. Okay, Bo of the Fifth Column is the channel, and the video is titled, Let's Talk About Thoughts and Prayers.
Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So I was on Twitter, saw something trending, and I was like, hey, I watch that show. Thought I was going to see adorable photos of Drew Barrymore. It's not what it was. And I wasn't surprised by what it was, because that's not surprising anymore. So let's run through it. I mean, we know what happens now, right? Half of you are going to say we need better security, arm the teachers. The other half are going to say gun control. That's what people are going to say. And what I'm going to hear, thoughts and prayers, because that's what it is. That's what it is. It's not a solution, either one of them, even if they were going to happen. But they won't. But let's say they do. Let's say they do. Okay, you got security. You have turned that school into a castle. It's a fortress. Man, but they still got to get to and from school. They'll be bunched up outside. I guess we could bring the buses in like through a sally port, like a prison. We could do that. But then there's the bus stops. Bulletproof bus stops, that's the answer, huh? You follow that line of reasoning long enough, you end up with armed students. Probably not the solution, because it's not addressing the problem. And you look at gun control. It's not going to happen, but let's pretend that it will. Let's say it passes. Magic. Poof. Then what? People don't give them up. This isn't other countries. Other countries didn't have more guns than people. The U.S. does. So people don't give them up. Then men with guns, instead of coming to their school, come to their homes. And we know how accurate police fire is, if they're at the right address. It's just changing who's taking them out. It's not stopping them, because it's not actually addressing the problem. The problem isn't that kids are getting killed. I know that's hard to believe, but that's not the problem. That's the symptom. The problem is that kids want to kill other kids. Where do they get that idea from? What are our solutions to this? More violence, more guns. Send men with guns to the home. Arm the teachers. Of course they think they solve all their problems with violence. It's what we've taught them. We say otherwise, but you can't tell a kid anything. You got to show them. And here we are, we're showing them. You know, depending on how people did the math, when I did that 3-part series on America's conflicts, I said, how many years of peace were there? 3 to 17 years. The age range of the victims. of course we have a problem with violence. We glorify it at every turn. This is how we solve all of our problems. So that's how they're going to. We taught it to them. I fail to believe that there's no solution that doesn't involve more violence. We got 200,000 people watching this. 200,000 people on this channel, and there's some smart people. I'm dead serious when I say this. I would love to see comments with solutions that don't involve additional violence. Because no matter what, that's not going to be the solution. Because we're just reinforcing the idea that that's how you solve the problems. None of the stuff that gets thrown out ever addresses the motive. So all we end up with are a bunch of kids that still want to kill other kids. I can't believe that that's going to be the solution. There's no magic lamp to rub here. We're not going to be able to wish this away. We have a systemic problem. We need a complete culture change. But we're not going to get it as long as we keep wanting thoughts and prayers. A student, after this last one, said that they can train you what to do in a drill, but they can't prepare you for being scared. I heard that almost exact sentence once. Congratulations, America. Our high school students are talking like Rangers after the first time they were in combat. We got a bigger problem than any of these minor solutions are going to fix. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.
One hell of a challenge to be able to come up with. And believe it or not, in the time it took for that video to play, I kind of think I might have one. Now, as I said before we watched the video, and me admitting I'm more of a hammer mechanic, my initial solution is to get government out and, if need be, let the child being bullied bloody the nose of the other child. And I'm telling you, it works. But that's not consistent with his challenge, because that involves violence. And in the end, if you look at it, it's still not really dealing with the motive, like he said. Still not dealing with the motive, because you have the initial problem of child A wanting to bully child B. Okay? So we need to fix this problem. We have to address why a child would want to bully another child. And the only thing that I can come up with for that, the only answer to that, is competition. Competition, because that's what it boils down to. Competition. One person or a group of people being over another. So maybe we need to change our culture into being a non-competitive one. Because everywhere you turn, everywhere you look, there's nothing but rat race. Everywhere. You got people clawing and kicking and screaming, trying to get to the top. And they could care less where their fellow brothers and sisters are standing. They could care less. As long as they got even just a crumb more than the other. Maybe that's the problem. And I'm not talking about socialism. I'm not talking about that whatsoever. That's a world totally apart. What I'm talking about is maybe if we stop focusing on the individual being the best, maybe if we started focusing on the nation, how we could all work together as a nation to be the best. That might get somewhere. competition is good on a level, on a certain level, but there's a part of it at some point that becomes very unhealthy. Very unhealthy. When you get to a point to where you wish negative things or bad things on other people just so you can get a little ahead, that's unhealthy. That's very unhealthy. Again, like I said, working together as a team is something totally apart from communism. Because, and the reason I bring that up is because the moment you talk about taking away competitiveness and everybody working together, that's the first word that people have been programmed to say. No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that, this person can't make a higher wage because, he's in this position versus this person who's in a different position. You know what I'm saying? The engineer of the company, it's not saying the engineer of a company can't make more money than the janitor. And I'm just throwing those roles out there, so don't attack me for that. I think janitors damn well deserve a good paycheck. Their work is hard. But, I think we get ourselves caught in this trap that we have to compete with one another on a level that induces harm. As to commenting about what he's saying about glorifying violence and all of that, well, maybe we need to look all around our country. Entertainment industry would be a great place to start looking at that. But another good place, our own government. I can remember being a child how limited the things were that I could see on public broadcast television. How limited the violence, the language, the sexual innuendos. It was extremely limited. Even when I was a child, okay? Generation X. Even when I was a child. But before me, it was even more regulated than that. Leave It to Beaver, and this is a fun fact for you, Leave It to Beaver at one time was one of the most controversial television shows aired on TV. Why is that? Because they showed the inside of a bathroom on the TV show. Imagine that. Imagine that. That's a true-to-life fact. Leave It to Beaver was one of the most controversial TV shows at one time, simply because they showed the inside of a bathroom. Now look at where we are today. Today, when it comes to the violence front, you've got the President of the United States on public broadcast television bragging and going into graphic detail about killing another human being. Little bit of a difference in that, isn't there? What Bo has to say has a hell of a lot of merit. It has a hell of a lot of merit. I don't think it's the only answer. And even to deal with the problem, I don't think it's the only thing that we can do. I think, like anything else, to get to where we were today, it was a gradual process. To get back is going to be that same gradual process. In the meantime, we do have to protect the students. And I still support my idea of teachers being armed. Not forcefully armed. I'm talking about teachers that are willing. I think that is a good solution to be able to help minimize the carnage. But again, that's not dealing with the motivation, as Bo said, and that has to be dealt with as well if we want to prevent this stuff from happening in the future. And the only way you're going to deal with that motivation is by dealing with the issue of competition. One of the things that I was really, really against, professional wrestling. professional wrestling. Because you had men standing up on national television talking all kinds of trash to one another, making all kinds of threats to one another. And who was it? Who was it that professional wrestling was targeted for? Children. Children. And they want to talk about me vaping flavors and how flavored vapes is targeting children. Give me a break. Give me a break. We do need to take a serious look at this. And no, it doesn't involve taking the guns. It doesn't involve gun control. It doesn't involve, there's a such thing as being able to have your freedom and fixing these problems too. But it starts with human beings being more human with one another. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. We're supposed to be the most civilized creatures on the planet, are we not? But we're not. We're not even close. We are not even close. Look at other animal species. Look at primates. Look at whales, dolphins, right? Do you really see them involved in some major big rat race that involves willingly and knowingly poisoning their fellow family members for financial gain? Do you see that coming from them? I don't. Nope. Nope, not whatsoever. Anyway, as Bo would say, it's just a thought. Just a thought. Anyway, let me run through the news headlines for the day, and then we'll get started on with the rest of the show. Let's see. Gotta have my sip of coffee. Illinois House approves cap on insulin costs. Plan returns to Senate. This is good. I think it was Colorado just did the same thing. Now, this is healthcare reform. Healthcare reform is going after the manufacturers of these medications, going after the administrators of these different healthcare institutions, and saying enough is enough. You're not going to be gouging people just because you can. That's healthcare reform. Not something that costs you and I out the nose and costs us freedoms and the whole 9 yards. That's not healthcare reform. That's helping out your buddies that owns insurance companies. That's all that is. So I'm glad to see this. I don't give Illinois props for very many things. I know, I believe the Illinois Senate has just also passed a flavor ban here for vaping in the state of Illinois. I don't know where it goes from there. I don't know if it's got to go to the House yet or what. I think it's got to go to the House. So again, it's not often I give Illinois props, but when it comes to putting a cap, especially on something like insulin, hell yeah. That's what needs to be done. Because I'll tell you what, nobody should ever have to make the choice of whether or not they can live, as in medically, if they can live, or if they should buy food or pay their rent or whatever the case may be. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, the way that people have to live and die in this country. The choices that we, the people, have to make, especially in a country like this. Anyway, let's see. Didn't match any known aircraft. Navy crew speaks out on 2004 UFO encounter. Saw flying elongated egg with phosphorus glow. One killed, several injured after college student opens fire at classmates in Russia's Far East. That's in Russia. That was a totally different shooting than here. CDC raises alarm over surge of drug-resistant superbugs infecting 3 million Americans annually and killing 4 people every hour. Let me read that again. CDC raises alarm over surge of drug-resistant superbugs infecting 3 million Americans annually and killing 4 people every hour. Not good. Pope Francis, I had to laugh when I saw this headline. Pope Francis urged to repent by clergy after participating in idolatrous worship of pagan goddess. I'm sure he'll get right on that. Let's see. A classic coup. Bolivia's new government is a military regime with no constitutional authority, says Max Blumenthal. Russia's trade with BRICS nations exceeds $125 billion, says Putin. BRICS new development bank to open regional office in Moscow in early 2020. 500 plus combat robots set to strengthen Indian Army defenses in Kashmir, says the media. Phasing out the dollar, BRICS countries setting up own payment network to cut dependence on Western financial system. I'll tell you what, and they've been talking about this for a while. When they get this put into motion, we're hurting. We're hurting. Believe me. Because you have to understand the U.S. dollar is merely a fiat currency. And as I've said a million times, replace that word fiat with the word bullshit and you'll understand it better. Okay? Because that's all the U.S. dollar is. It gets its power from consumer confidence. That's it. It's not backed by gold. It's not, it's consumer confidence. Well, what happens if there's no more consumer confidence? Guess what? Your dollar's not worth nothing. Well, what happens when you got half of the world trading with a different payment system than the U.S. dollar? Well, then your dollar's worth half as much as it was before. Get ready. Get ready. Because there's a lot of countries that are tired of dealing with the U.S. and their dollar. Rise of the machines postponed. Boeing relies on humans again after robots fail its 777X jet fuselage assembly. Russia considers power shift in Bolivia a coup, but will work with Inez as interim president, says the deputy foreign minister. We may finally have a way to find mysterious Planet 9, but there's a catch. Turkish President Erdogan says he can't harm relations with Russia by ditching S-400 on Trump's demand. U.S. Federal Reserve's monetary policy is a black hole that will swallow up everyone, says RT's Kaiser report. Which, that's not news, that's just reflection. We already knew that. U.S. oil prepares for Plan B if Democrats take the White House. Which I think there is some possibility of it, to be real honest. Trump has lost a fair amount of his base. And this deal with vaping, I'm telling you right now, if anything goes south federally with vaping, yeah, he's gonna have a problem on his hands as far as getting reelected. That's a fact. That is a data-backed fact. And with Bloomberg throwing his hat in the ring, I'm telling you, things are gonna get hairy. Things are gonna get hairy. Let's see. Pope Francis lectures tech industry on pornography and child abuse. Now, you want to talk about a pot calling a kettle black, right? Because you know my beliefs. It's my opinion. I firmly believe that the Vatican is heavily involved with the largest child sex trafficking ring on the planet. I firmly believe, it's my opinion, that the Vatican has their hands all in that, no pun intended. I'm telling you, I just, it blows my mind at the nerve. It really does. The braze, what's the word? The brazenness, if that's a word, I don't know. Anyway, multiple victims in California high school shooting, suspect at large. 7.1 magnitude earthquake hits near Indonesia, tsunami threat warning issued. Multiple victims in California high school shooting, suspect in custody. There we go. And I got a number 2 up there. Let's see. Trump's V-Day visit to Moscow would be the right thing to do even during election season, says Putin. And the other headline is post-coup Bolivia anarchy resembles Libya. Putin urges common sense amid Latin American chaos. Interesting. Well, that would cover the monologue. Let me go ahead and close it up, and we'll get on with the rest of the show. For those here for the live show, we'll be live till 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. For those just here for the monologue, or if you're watching the recording later on, thank you very much. As always, God bless you, we love you, and be one with your spirit.